Have you ever sat alone at night, maybe in bed, maybe in your favorite chair, and felt a quiet confusion inside you? You think to yourself, I love my spouse. I care for them deeply, but something's different. I don't feel the same desire I used to. Is that normal? Is it just me? Have I lost something important? If you've ever had thoughts like that, please know this. You are not alone, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. In fact, these thoughts are more common than most people imagine. But because we rarely talk about them, especially after 60, 70, or 80, they often come a quiet shame, a private fear that maybe something is broken inside. But here's the truth. You're not broken. You're not abnormal. And you're certainly not alone. Sexual desire changes with time, just like eyesight, digestion, or energy levels. But unlike those things, people often whisper or avoid the subject altogether, especially when it involves older adults. So in this video, we're going to open that door gently, kindly, and without judgment. We'll talk about 5 honest truths about losing interest in sex after 70, and what those truths really mean for your health, your relationships, and your sense of self. Let's begin with the very first one. Truth number 1, it's normal for sexual desire to change, not disappear. First of all, let's talk about the word normal, because that's what everyone wants to know, right? Is it normal to feel this way? Yes, it is. But let's be clear, just because something is normal doesn't mean it's easy. When desire fades, it can feel like losing a part of your identity. It can feel confusing, even sad, especially if you've had a rich, active sexual life in the past. But change doesn't mean end. It means evolve. As we age, our bodies change, and so do our priorities. Hormones shift, energy levels fluctuate, sleep patterns adjust. The aches in our joints speak louder than they used to. Medications may change how our bodies respond. And emotionally, we may become more sensitive, more cautious, or even more self-conscious. But that doesn't mean desire vanishes. In fact, many seniors still feel desire, just in new ways. Maybe it's not the same kind of excitement you felt at 30. But maybe now, it's the deep longing for closeness, the comfort of a long hug, the tenderness of falling asleep hand in hand, the safety of being truly seen and accepted by someone who knows your heart. Sexuality at 70 or 80 or beyond is less about performance and more about connection. Less about urgency, more about presence. Less about physical stimulation, more about emotional intimacy. And that shift, that's not a loss. That can actually be a gain if you allow it. But here's the challenge. Society doesn't show us that. When was the last time you saw an older couple in a movie being sensual without being made fun of? When do we see elders expressing closeness without it being the punchline of a joke? So when your body slows down or your mind doesn't feel that spark, it's easy to assume something is wrong. But it's not. You are just entering a new chapter, and it can be just as meaningful as the ones before it. Truth number 2, desire is affected by many hidden factors, not just age. Let's talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff, because what many people don't realize is that desire isn't just about age. It's about everything else that's happening in your body and mind. Let's start with medication. Do you take anything for high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, pain, arthritis, sleep? Chances are, yes. And many of those medications have side effects that affect sexual function. Sometimes reducing blood flow, sometimes lowering hormone levels, and often changing how your brain processes desire. Now, let's add in medical conditions. Diabetes, heart disease, prostate issues, menopause, osteoporosis, even chronic pain or fatigue. These all affect how your body responds to touch, arousal, and comfort. And then there's the emotional side. If you've experienced grief, loneliness, or low self-esteem, that can play a massive role. Many people stop initiating affection because they worry they'll be rejected or that they'll disappoint their partner. Some even feel guilty. Why don't I want this anymore? Or am I failing as a husband or wife? Let me say this as clearly as I can. You are not failing. You are adjusting. And it's okay to acknowledge that things are different now. Desire is not a switch you can flip on or off. It's a delicate balance between your body, your mind, your emotions, and your environment. And when you understand that, it becomes a lot easier to stop blaming yourself and start gently exploring what's possible. Truth number 3, emotional intimacy becomes more important than ever. Now, let's talk about something truly beautiful. As sexual desire shifts, emotional closeness often grows deeper. Think about it. When you've spent decades with someone, when you weathered storms together, raised children, buried friends, faced illness, and seen each other through your most vulnerable moments, that kind of bond creates a level of intimacy that number 20-something could possibly understand. And that closeness can become the very foundation of a new kind of sensuality. Here's the secret. After 70, many couples find that true intimacy begins in the heart, not in the body. It shows up in small acts. A slow, lingering hug before bed, holding hands while watching the sunset, talking about fears, memories, or dreams you've never shared before. Simply sitting in silence, knowing that you're not alone. This kind of emotional connection creates safety. And when we feel safe, we're more likely to feel open, sometimes even sexually, but always spiritually. So if you're feeling a distance between you and your partner, start with the emotions. Ask questions. Be vulnerable. Listen without judgment. Say, I miss feeling close to you. I want to understand how we both changed, and I'd like to reconnect in any way that feels good for us. That one sentence could open a door you thought was closed forever. In part 1, we talk about how it's completely normal for sexual desire to change, not disappear, as we age. We also talked about how many factors beyond aging, like medication, health conditions, and emotional shifts, can influence how we feel physically and mentally. And we ended with something really powerful. The truth that emotional connection often becomes more meaningful than physical performance. But let's go even deeper. Because for many people, even knowing these truths doesn't always bring comfort. Why? Because there's still this quiet voice inside whispering, but I still miss what we used to have. I don't know how to talk to my partner about this. I feel ashamed that I don't feel like I used to. Let's shine light into that darkness. Truth number 4, you can redefine what intimacy looks like at any age. Here's the beautiful thing. Intimacy isn't one fixed definition. It's not a formula. It's not a checklist. It's not about doing what you see in movies or magazines. Intimacy is a living, breathing experience between two people who choose to be present with each other. And it can evolve. For some seniors, that means exploring new forms of connection that don't center on intercourse. That could be sensual massage, skin-to-skin cuddling, bathing together, giving each other gentle foot rubs, or even something as simple as laying in bed and reminiscing about younger days while holding hands. Let me tell you this, just because something is less sexual doesn't mean it's less intimate. In fact, many older couples report that their closeness has become even deeper because the pressure is gone. They no longer feel the need to perform. Instead, they feel free to be honest, playful, slow, and emotionally connected. You don't need a young body to have beautiful intimacy. You need an open heart, a willing partner, and the courage to try something new. Truth number 5, communication is the most powerful intimate act you can share. This might be the hardest part for many seniors. Talking about intimacy or the lack of it can feel terrifying, especially if you and your partner haven't talked about it in years or decades. But here's the truth. No one can read your mind. No one knows what you're feeling unless you share it. And yes, it's scary. What if they don't feel the same? What if they're upset? What if they've given up? But you know what's even harder than one difficult conversation? A lifetime of quiet misunderstanding. Two people sleeping inches apart, but feeling miles away because no one dared say, I miss you. Start small. You don't need to dive into a heavy talk right away. You can say things like, I've been thinking a lot about how we used to be, and I wonder how we both changed. I want us to feel close again, in whatever way works for us now. Can we find new ways to connect that make us both feel good? Use gentle words. Keep your tone curious, not critical. Focus on feelings, not faults. And remember, this isn't about fixing something. It's about understanding each other again. And if the words are hard to find, write them down. A handwritten note can open a door that has been locked for years. Now, what if you're single, or widowed, or divorced after many years? What does intimacy look like then? That brings us to another honest truth. Truth number 6. You can still experience intimacy, even without a partner. So many people believe that once you're alone, the chance for love or connection is over. That's simply not true. Intimacy isn't just about another person. It's about your relationship with yourself. It's about touch, pleasure, comfort, confidence, and self-worth. You can still explore your own body. You can still enjoy softness, beauty, and physical closeness in your own skin. You can still feel attractive. You can still flirt. You can still feel desired, even if the only one looking in the mirror is you. And if you're open to it, love doesn't end at 60, 70, or even 90. Countless people meet new partners later in life, through clubs, church, community groups, or even online. Yes, online. There are platforms built for seniors looking for companionship, romance, and everything in between. But whether you're seeking someone new or embracing your solo journey, the most important relationship you have is with yourself. Treat yourself gently. Speak kindly to your body. Let go of what used to be and welcome what can be. Truth number 7. Shame is a heavy burden, and you don't have to carry it. Let's talk about shame for a moment. So many people over 70 carry quiet shame around intimacy. Maybe they were raised in a time where sex wasn't discussed. Maybe they were taught that older people shouldn't think about that. Maybe they've been told that it's inappropriate, sinful, or embarrassing to desire physical closeness after a certain age. Let me say this as clearly as possible. That is a lie. Desire is not shameful. Wanting connection is not wrong. You are allowed to want pleasure. You are allowed to want to be touched, seen, loved, held. Aging doesn't erase your needs. It reveals them more clearly. If shame is keeping you silent, please know that you're not alone. Millions of older adults feel what you're feeling. The only difference is that many suffer in silence. But you don't have to. Not anymore. Watch this video again. Let it remind you that you're worthy of love, of touch, of joy. Talk to someone you trust. Open the door to new conversations. Let the weight of shame fall away, because it was never yours to carry. Truth number 8. Your body is still worthy of care, pleasure, and respect. After 70, it's easy to look in the mirror and feel disconnected. Wrinkles, scars, sagging skin. These things feel unfamiliar, maybe even unwelcome. But every line tells a story. Every stretch mark holds a moment. And your body is not a problem to fix. It's a life lived fully. Touch it with kindness. Speak to it with gratitude. And if you want to explore pleasure again, whether alone or with someone else, do it without apology. If there are physical limitations, that's okay. Use pillows. Try different positions. Use lubricants or moisturizers. Take your time. Go slow. Laugh when things feel awkward. Celebrate the fact that you're still curious, still willing to try, still alive. Aging isn't about shrinking. It's about expanding your definitions of beauty, pleasure, and connection. You still deserve those things. Every day that you wake up and breathe, you deserve them. So far, we've talked about how sexual desire evolves, not disappears. We've explored how medications, health, emotional connection, and past conditioning can shape how we experience intimacy. And we've uncovered some beautiful truths, like how communication can heal distance, how you can still experience closeness without intercourse, and how shame has no place in your later years. But before we close, let's talk about something deeper than desire. Let's talk about worth. Because at the root of every struggle with intimacy, there's usually one quiet question hiding underneath. Am I still desirable? Do I still matter in this way? Does anyone still want to hold me, want me, seem like that? And the answer is yes, 1,000 times yes. You see, our culture doesn't often show older people as romantic, let alone sexual. You rarely see ads of 75-year-olds kissing. You don't find movies where two people in their 80s fall deeply in love again. The world around us sends a message that once you pass a certain age, you become invisible, not just in society, but in desire. But here's the truth. Desire doesn't have an age limit. Connection doesn't expire. And your body, your heart, and your capacity to love are still very much alive. Truth number 9. You are still desirable, even if the mirror tells you otherwise. Let's be honest. Aging changes the body in ways that aren't always easy to embrace. You might look in the mirror and see sagging, softness, or scars. You might not recognize the person staring back at you, especially if you're comparing them to your 30-year-old self. But your body isn't less than. It's a map of everywhere you've been. Your wrinkles are where you've smiled. Your stretch marks are proof you carried life or lived through growth. Your softer skin is not a flaw. It's simply lived in. And if you don't feel beautiful or handsome anymore, let me offer this. Beauty at this age isn't in tight skin or toned abs. It's in the way you hold eye contact. It's in the depth of your listening. It's in your laughter lines, in your steadiness, in your patience. You are not past your prime. You're just in a different kind of bloom, one that's quieter, deeper, and perhaps more sacred. Truth number 10. You deserve to be touched with kindness, including by yourself. So many seniors feel that because they've lost interest in sex or can't perform like they used to, they should simply give up on physical touch altogether. But touch is not just about sex. Touch is how we feel real. It's how the nervous system settles, how grief is soothed, how connection is built, often without words. Whether you're partnered or not, your skin deserves gentle care. Run a warm bath, moisturize slowly, place a hand on your chest, and simply breathe. If you have a partner, take turns massaging each other's hands or feet. Hug more often. Lie in bed without distractions. Just be. That alone is healing. And if you're alone, please remember, self-touch is not shameful. It is an act of love. You are your first home, your oldest companion. Honor that home. Treat it with tenderness. Truth number 11. Your needs still matter, even if you don't voice them often. One thing I've heard from many seniors is, I don't want to be a burden. So they stay quiet. They don't speak up about their needs. They don't ask their partner for closeness, or their doctor for help, or their friends for advice. They simply go without. But I want you to hear this. Your needs are not a burden. You matter. What you want matters. And if no one has told you lately, you're allowed to ask. You're allowed to say, I miss being held. I'm scared of feeling unwanted. I want to feel alive again. You're allowed to want joy, connection, touch, excitement, and even adventure, even at 70, 80, or 90. In fact, that desire is proof that your spirit is still young. Truth number 12. It's never too late to reconnect with a partner or yourself. Maybe you've been in a relationship for 40 years and the spark has faded. Maybe you've drifted apart slowly, not out of anger, but just from routine. It's not too late to reach out, to rediscover each other. You can start fresh, even in the same house, even with the same person. Create new rituals, like tea together every night or a weekly date night at home. Read to each other. Sit in silence together. Laugh again. Try something new. And if you're single, remember, reconnection doesn't have to come from outside. You can reconnect with parts of yourself you've put away. Take yourself on a walk. Try painting. Dance in the kitchen. Buy yourself flowers. Be the lover to yourself that you've always wanted someone else to be. So here we are. We've walked through 5 or maybe 12. Honest truths about sex, intimacy, aging, shame, connection, and self-worth. And if you've stayed with me this far, I want you to know something. You are extraordinary. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're still willing to ask questions. You're still willing to wonder, to reflect, to grow, to feel. And that is what keeps the spirit young, even as the body changes. If this video touched something in you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What resonated most? What truth did you need to hear today? What would you want your younger self to know about love after 70? Your words may help someone else feel less alone. And if you found this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss our weekly wellness tips every Tuesday. Because aging is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a deeper one. Here's to love at every age. Here's to intimacy that grows wiser. And here's to you exactly as you are. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.